Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. I realized today that blunt pencils are really pointless. Today, we're taking a look at Star Wars Unlimited Intro Battle Hoth new player game from Fantasy Flight Games. All right, Star Wars Unlimited Intro Battle Hoth, new player game from Fantasy Flight Games. All right, is a two-player head-to-head game where you're going to compete against each other. One person's going to play Leia, one person's going to play Darth Vader, and you're going to fight each other out in this collectible card game. Okay, now, this is the new player game, which means it's a basic version of the game. Not a lot of the components and rules are there, but it's going to kind of teach you how to play the game, and it's going to kind of show you what the game is. So if it's one of these games that you wanted to get into, but you're not really sure, this is where to go. So I'll tell you what, let's go down to the table. Let me explain roughly how to play this game, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So to play the game, the first thing you have to do is you have to set it up. Now, with this box right here, they make it really easy for you. Both decks are going to come preset in a predetermined way. So you're not shuffling these decks your very first play. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the board and you're going to lay out the board. Whoever's going to be Leia is going to have Leia on her side, Darth Vader. You know how it goes. Take all the components, put them out, put them off to the side. You got basically all you're going to have is you're going to have your damage counters, you're going to have your first player marker, and then you're going to have two little X's, and those are used for your epic ability. All right, when your epic ability is used up, you just put it on your leader card, and then you know it's done. So those are the only components that you're going to have. All right, then each player is going to take their deck. Now, their deck, it tells you right on the beginning, stop, don't shuffle it. Okay, anything else, just kind of leave it set up the way it is. Put the base on the base, and for the intro game, you're putting the base 20 side up. Okay, with the 20, not the 30 damage. And then you put your leader with the epic, where it shows the epic on the bottom. You're going to put your leader face up right there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to draw your hand of cards. You're going to take two of those cards and you're going to put them down. Now, one of the things you can actually do in this game, and they don't recommend it for the setup because right now your decks are predetermined, is you can do a mulligan. All right, mulligan basically means you're going to discard your hand of cards, draw new ones, and then you have to keep that hand. Why you would mulligan is if all your card resource cost is way too high, nothing's going to cost 1 or 2, but everything's say 3 or higher, you may not want that hand at the very beginning of the game because you can't play anything. All right, but draw your hand of cards and you're ready to go. Now, what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to go back and forth, and starting whoever the first player is you're going to do one of a couple things. One, you can expend resources to play cards. The cost to play cards is in the upper left-hand corner. And when you play those cards, there's a couple different cards you can have. If they're space cards, you're going to put them over in the space section of your board, and all of them come in exhausted, so turn them sideways. If they're ground units, you're going to put them over in the ground side exhausted. Or if they're, say, events, you're just going to play the event and do what the event says. And if it's an upgrade card, you're going to take that upgrade card and you're going to attach it to one of your units that happen to be on the board. Okay, and that's what you're going to do. Then it's going to be your opponent's turn. Your opponent can do basically the same thing. When it comes back to you, you get to figure out what you want to do. So what are some of the things you can do? Well, you can attack. If you have a card on your side of the board that's not exhausted, you can exhaust that card and attack. Now, space cards can only attack space cards for the most part, and ground cards are the same. They can only attack the ground units, except for space and ground units can both attack the base. You determine who you want to attack. Now, the card that you attack can be exhausted, can be unexhausted, or it can just be the base. And what you're going to do is you're going to do damage equal to whatever the left-hand side is of your card, where it shows low damage amount, and you have a shield amount over on your right-hand side. But you're going to do damage based on that, and your opponent, exhausted or not, is going to do damage back to you. You put the damage on your cards. If your card has not sustained enough damage to destroy it, all right, well, it's going to stay in play. If it's enough to destroy it on either side, then that card just goes into the discard pile. All right. And then it's your opponent's turn. They can attack with one of their cards, or they can do whatever they want. If you attack base, you're just taking points off of whatever the base total is. All right. if, like I said, if your cards take damage, you take a damage counter and you just kind of put it on. If the damage counter is ever equal whatever the total damage is, well, then that card is destroyed and goes in your discard pile. Now, one of the other things you can also do too is you can actually, it's like passing, but you're declaring that you want to be the new first player. So once you've done that, you can no longer do anything else. All right, you're done. Your opponent's just going to sit there and he's going to keep on playing his turns until he passes. All right, but if you pass and your opponent decides to do another action, and then it comes back to you, you can still do another action. All right, but if you pass and your opponent passes, the turn's done. Or if your opponent passes and then say you take the first player, then the turn is done. Okay, once all that is done, then you're going to go to the end phase. All right, which is actually the regroup phase. In the regroup phase, basically what you're going to do is you're going to draw 2 cards into your hand, all right, into your deck. You're going to take one of those cards, and if you want, you can put it down as a resource. Okay, so you're going to put it face down in your little resource pool. Okay, so that's going to grow every round. Okay, you're going to ready all of your cards, and you're ready to go. Starting with the first person, he's going to take his turn, and you're going to go back and forth. And this is going to keep happening. Everyone's going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, till one person destroys that another person's base. Once that happens, you win. Star Wars Unlimited Intro Battle Hoth. Okay, folks, that was a real high level of how to play this game, because honestly, this is a very intro basic level of this game. I think one of the main things I didn't talk about as far as this one goes, there's a couple things actually, is the epic ability of your leader. Every leader has an epic ability. If you meet that epic ability, okay, sometimes it's have a number of resources or whatever it is, but once you meet that epic ability, your leader now is going to go into either whether it be space or whether it be ground. It's going to say on the card, it's going to go into play in that area. Okay, they're still considered your leader. All right, so you can still play. Okay, do whatever you need to do. You just don't have that ability. Now, if your leader ever dies, what's going to happen is your leader is going to go back over to the leader area. You're going to take one of those X counters, put it over their epic ability, because you can't use that epic ability again. It's a one and done type thing. Once it's used, it's totally exhausted up. Okay. Now, there are a couple keywords that this set has. Now, there is a whole list of keywords that the main game has, but they're only using really 3 of them in this one. Okay. One of them is raid. Okay. So if you have the keyword raid, when you're attacking, you're basically going to get an extra power and your card will say what it is. There's restore. When that unit attacks, it's going to be able to heal damage as well. And there's the Sentinel. Okay, if there's a Sentinel ability out, say like you have, in space, you have several units out there, but one of them has a Sentinel value, you have to attack that Sentinel first. He's basically absorbing everybody. Everyone's kind of going into him. Once the Sentinel's gone, then you can attack however you want. Okay, so you just have to watch for those. Now, like I said, the main game has got several more keywords in that, but that is basically it. Okay, there's no limit to the number of cards or units that you have in your hand or in your play area. Now, if some of the units do have the, I think it's the unique icon on them, all right, you can't have more than one of those cards in play at any given time, if it's the exact same name. If the name's a little different, then you can, but if they're the exact same name, you can only ever have one in play at a time, which means the other one you might as well just turn to a resource card or just kind of hold it in your hand. Okay. But otherwise, basically, you're just keeping going back and forth. Like I said, this is a very intro game. There's also some triggered abilities you can run into across in this game. There's on attack. So if a unit attacks, something may happen. If it's on the defensive side, that on attack won't trigger. There's a when played. So when a card comes into play, the when it played triggers. All right, so then you deal with that and goes. And then there's a when defeated. So if that is ever defeated and it goes in your discard pile, you get to do whatever it says. Now, if you ever go to draw cards and your deck is empty, your deck's kind of a timer if you think of it this way. If you ever go to draw cards and you can't, for the cards you can't draw, you're going to basically be doing damage to your base. So you want to go through the deck, you want to go through your deck because you want to be able to get your cards that you need, but you don't want to go through it too fast. All right, if you go through it too fast, then you're going to be taking damage to your base. All right, and you may end up losing a little sooner. Okay, now, the game, as it comes in the box, your very first play, your base is only going to have 20 damage and your card deck is determined. But once that's done, once you've played through it and you've walked through it and you know how to play the game, shuffle everything up, flip that base over, you now have 30 damage, and just go back and forth. Play however you want to play and play the game and learn the game, okay? as far as I'm concerned, if you really want to play Star Wars Unlimited, this is a great way to play the game, or a great way to kind of learn the game. It's going to give you basic. There's not too many rules for this one, okay? But it's going to give you that idea of how it plays. Now, there's some really cool things in this, because the fact that you can have a ship or a ground unit and you can attack your opponent's units, okay? But if they can manage to survive, they can turn around and they can attack you back on that following turn. So there's some really cool elements to the game that you really have to think about when you're playing this one, all right? Because you can't just take a whole bunch of units, group them all together, and fight however you want to fight and take them out. You have to play the abilities of your cards relatively smart. This is actually a really cool collectible game. Now, I have played a ton of collectible card games over my years. I used to play Magic the Gathering a lot, okay? I never played anything tournament level. I never got into that. I play games for fun. I don't play them for the tournaments or rewards or anything like that. But Magic the Gathering was always a super fun one. Jihad, way back in the day, absolutely loved that one. There was a Middle Earth one and a Star Trek one. I mean, this is back in like the 80s, 90s. Okay, I absolutely loved all those games and a lot of them when they came out. The original Netrunner, before it became an LCG from Fantasy Flight Games, loved that one as well. Okay, so there's a special place in my heart for these trading card games. Now, me personally, anymore these days, I don't like the deck building aspect. Okay, so one of the cool things about this game, not in this box itself, is well, this box actually, yes, but there's decks you can buy that are pre-built decks. I know even Magic the Gathering has stuff like that. And anymore, when I play, because I play for fun, I just get those pre-built decks. I play those, I play a couple games, and I'm good for a while. Okay, and that's what I like personally. But as far as trading games go, this one has got some really cool things. Now, I know that there's another expansion, a 2-player set that's out. What is it? Shadows of the Galaxy. I'm going to be reviewing that one here real shortly as well, because I do have that, and that one goes deeper into the game. All right, so I'm going to be covering that one here pretty quick. That's going to give you some of my more in-depth thoughts on the game as well, so be watching for that one. But otherwise, intro Battle of Hoth, you know what? If you want to check out this game, if it's something you've been really interested in, this is like a $20 box. It's a cheap introductory way to get into the game. It's going to teach you the game really fast. I think this is a great box. I think this is a good starting point if you're really on that fence. So that way you can play a couple games with both these decks and see if you like it. Okay. If you're not into trading card games or collectible card games like that, this is one you're just going to want to skip, and I say move on. Me, I like it. I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to play it every now and then. It's not my favorite game in the world, but I do like some of the mechanics of this one. So there you go. It's a good little game. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. And please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, I humbly ask you to click on the subscription button if you haven't done so already, and even click on that bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxings, some playthroughs, and reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. You know, 6:30 is the best time on the clock, hands down.